So that's what it's supposed to, that's what it evolved within us to function as. However, us human beings, we have this knack of getting stuck in defensive states. And that's called trauma, when we are stuck in a defensive state. And we can get stuck in a fight state. That means so people can get stuck down that polyvagal ladder in their fight on that fight rung. They could actually get stuck there. This can look a couple different ways, maybe even a third. This can look like we are stuck in fight, like we're just developmentally, maybe there was this constant severing of connection with caregivers or trusted adults or people that we were supposed to rely on. And through this constant severing, maybe we had to exist in a fight state in order to get our needs met. So developmentally, we kind of just exist in more of a fight state. That's one potential path, is like chronic disruption of connectedness. The other potential path is that we went through something, like we went through an incident where we had to go into a fight state, but we weren't able to use that fight energy, and it actually got stuck in the system. So we were in the fight state, but immobilized, or we perceived that we had to immobilize, or that the fight state would not be able to deal with the situation. We couldn't utilize our fight state. And so through the perception of that, we immobilized. So we're in fight and we immobilize either through perception or through force. Hopefully that makes sense. And the other one that I'll throw in here, so that's two. The other one I'll throw in here is coming out of shutdown up into fight. So out of shutdown, which is the bottom of the ladder, that's immobilization. Out of that limp collapse up into fight. And then what happens is the sympathetic fight energy comes back into the system. It's not stuck there. We're just not like accessing it. And so as we come up the polyvagal ladder into fight, then that sympathetic fight energy comes back into the system. And I don't think that's what this person's asking, but that could potentially be a factor for somebody. Being stuck down the polyvagal ladder comes from a chronic disruption of connectedness or an acute life threat reaction. So the acute life threat reaction is a freeze mixed state of the polyvagal theory. That's where we have flight, fight, active plus shutdown. So sympathetic plus dorsal vagal. We are ready to run or fight, but also immobilized through force or through perception. And then the flight, fight energy is frozen into the system. Now this person's asking specifically about fight. And yeah, we could have more of a fight flavored freeze, which I would associate more with rage, versus a flight flavored freeze, which I would associate more with panic. Chronic disruption of connectedness definitely will leave someone down their polyvagal ladder, but not necessarily with the immobilization along with it. That person can be stuck in like flight. Maybe they existed in this chronic disruption of connectedness, and so they just kind of got stuck in that flight energy. So day to day, they have a noticeable level of anxiety, which would be the day-to-day experience of stuck flight state. So that doesn't necessarily involve immobilization. That simply means that they existed in more of a flight energy through their, whatever the context of their life is. That's different than being stuck in like a flight flavored freeze and experiencing more like panic attacks. A freeze and panic attacks really go hand in hand. Same thing with the person stuck in fight. They may have gotten their needs met through existing in a fight state. And so they kind of exist there, but without the immobilization aspect of it. And so they just kind of feel maybe angry or irritable. And that's just kind of underlying their system. That fight energy is affecting them, and that they are thinking more in terms of blame or thinking negatively, and they're feeling more irritation and anger and snapping at people. So it's in the system, it's there, but there's no immobilization aspect to it. So there would be no like rage, explosive rage coming from that frozen fight state. Hey, by the way, tap, click, or press the subscribe button or the follow button It will give you immediate access to the next episode in whatever player you're using. Thank you so much. It really does help the show to be found by others. And I want you to go ahead and also thank my daughter, my 13-year-old daughter. I had originally recorded a child's voice begging you for a subscription. And she said, "No, Daddy, that's disturbing. Don't play that." So I'll pass along your thanks to her for sparing you what apparently was disturbing. I thought it was funny. But yeah, she thought so. Thank her for that. Moving on. Topic 3. I don't think we'll ever have computer-generated children's voices on the show. All right, she ruined it.
This podcast is not therapy, not intended to be therapy or be a replacement for therapy. Nothing in this creates or indicates a therapeutic relationship. Please consult with your therapist or seek for one in your area if you are experiencing mental health symptoms. Nothing in this podcast should be construed to be specific life advice. It is for educational and entertainment purposes only. More resources are available in the description of this episode,